A very good evening and a warm welcome to this Tuesday night's edition of Primetime News. I'm Selima Shimwefeleni Masipa. Tonight's newscast is headlined by the two-day Extraordinary Organ Troika Summit, which concluded in the capital earlier today. During his address to the summit, as chairperson of the SADC Organ on Politics, Defense and Security, President Dr. Hage Geingob noted that peace is a prerequisite for development, and as such, there cannot be prosperity for SADC citizens unless decisive action is taken in addressing issues of insecurity in the region. Let's listen in.
The time has come for us to dare to reinvent, innovate strategies, and pursue novel ways and means to find lasting solutions to our political and security challenges. In the same vein, we are also called upon to prepare and empower our people for the journey to the fourth industrial revolution. Thus, the steps for revitalization and innovation in the political, economic, scientific, and many other spheres in all the SADC countries should be undertaken. By so doing, we will shape the future of our region as a cutting-edge region of peace, stability, development, and progress, as per the goals of our Vision 2050 and the Regional Indicative Strategic Development Plan 2020-2030. Therefore, will become the makers and masters of our destiny in SADC.
Still on the Extraordinary Organ Troika Summit, SADC Executive Secretary Elias Makhosi noted that as the leadership of the regional bloc, they are called upon to prepare and empower people for the journey to the fourth industrial revolution. Let's listen in.
SADC is also strengthened SADC mediation, conflict prevention, and preventive diplomacy structure to ensure long-lasting solutions to SADC's political and security challenges. In this regard, SADC starting August 2022 appointed new members of the panel of governors and the mediation platform with the mandate to foster political and security stability in the region through the prevention, management, and resolution of significant interstate and intra-state conflicts.
Shifting our attention to wildlife and conservation matters, Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism spokesperson Romeo Muyunda earlier today revealed that elephant poaching figures in the country have declined steeply since 2015. More on the gist from this report.
Yes, I think we have noted a decline in elephant poaching, with only 4 elephants that are poaching across the country in 2022, and that comes from 10 elephants that were poached in 2021, and the year before that, which is 2020, we had 12 elephants that were poached. The highest poached elephants in the country was in 2015 with 101, and I think ever since 2015 the number has been drastically descending, which is something that is positive for the ministry. This is due to the interventions that we have put together with the stakeholders in law protection, in wildlife protection, and law enforcement that are assisting us in anti-poaching activities across the country.
Moving on to a rather unfortunate incident, a 54-year-old man died in an aircraft accident in Rehoboth on Sunday. More from this insert compiled by Emilia Kambuta.
The Namibian police force in a crime report on Monday said Jan Steenberg was in the aircraft alone, while his wife drove the vehicle which pulled the aircraft. Eyewitnesses present at the scene told NAMPO the aircraft reached a certain height and then plummeted to the ground. Steenberg died on the spot. He reportedly broke both legs and had severe head injuries. His body was transported to the St. Mary's Hospital.
When we return with the business segment, Ipumbo Shimi launches the Code of Good Practices on Preferences. Welcome to the business segment. Minister of Finance and Public Enterprises, Ipumbu Shimi, earlier today launched the Code of Good Practices on Preferences referred to in Section 71 and 72 of the Public Procurement Act. Here is the minister with more.
The code really it's a guideline that stipulates how these entities that I have talked about should be given preference in terms of procurement. What are these entities? We have talked about local suppliers, if you are producing goods in Namibia, SMEs, those that are classified as SMEs, small and medium enterprises. As you know, these are the engine of growth, because if you don't have SMEs, you will not have companies that are going to graduate one day to become big businesses. So we need to support and promote SMEs. Specifically, businesses that are owned by women, that is also specified in the law. So these are the entities that are going to be given preference. Now, how will it work? So as I said, you will find the details. So first of all, you need to be defined as a local company. So that's also defined in terms of the law. I believe Section 71 of the law clearly stipulates as to what is a local company, what is a local supplier. Now, if you are a local supplier and you are competing between yourself or between other local suppliers and international suppliers, you will be given preference as a local supplier. Further, if you are an SME, let's say you have a local supplier, one is a medium-sized company, a big-sized company, one is an SME, preference will be given to an SME because we specifically want to target SMEs, as I said. These are the future engines and, in fact, the current future of growth. The third component of the preference is those that are on the northern side of the red line. As you know, that we have issued a directive saying that public entities must buy, especially things like meat, that is found on the other side. As you know, the meat on the other side cannot move this side. So we're trying to stimulate economic activities on the northern side of the cordon fence, especially when it comes to meat products.
Minister of Agriculture, Water and Land Reform, Kale Schlettwein, during his staff address on Monday, noted the ministry is not doing well as far as abattoirs in both the communal and commercial sectors are concerned. Let's find out why.
Now, while we are doing okay with graze management and with disease control, there's an area where we are not doing very well. And that is the next step. Once you have reared your cattle, you must find a place where you can sell them to. Normally it's abattoirs. That's the outlet through which our cattle production or our livestock production goes. And they did not do well, neither in the commercial sector nor in the communal sector. Now, our policy is now that in the communal sectors, we have taken over a number of abattoirs, that's as the ministry, and we will look for partners to run them under our supervision. In the commercial sector, what we see is that Meatco, as the biggest abattoir, has to a certain extent failed the farmers, and they have taken other initiatives. They have now taken it in their own hand and they are developing their own abattoirs. Meatco is still in the intensive care unit. And Mesach is sitting there and waiting to hear whether he must switch off the machines or whether he must put new gas in the oxygen cylinders. But up front, I dare say that there comes a time when we have to take a decision, and it's a hard decision, whether those resources that we are putting into a limping organization, whether they are well spent, or whether we should not use some of it at least to support farmers.
That's where the top news ends for this evening. The economics roundup is up next, followed by the weather forecast. Tonight's Sport Planet segment kickstarts with cycling. The 37th edition of the annual Nedbank Cycle Challenge was officially launched earlier today. The Road Racing Challenge, which covers distances of 20, 30, 60 and 100 kilometers for elite athletes, will be held on Sunday the 12th of February in Windhoek. The road race will begin at the Nedbank campus in Fidel Castro and Reverend Michael Scott Streets and will conclude in front of Zoo Park along the Independence Avenue Promenade. Sport, Youth and National Service Minister Agnes Chongarero during the launch noted Nedbank Namibia is one of the biggest contributors to cycling in Namibia. Meanwhile, Namibia's Commonwealth Games bronze medalist and African cross-country champion Alex Miller has joined South African-based mountain bike team Pyga Eurosteel. Tiger Eurosteel was established in 2013 by London Olympian Phil Buys and is one of the most established mountain bike racing teams in South Africa, consistently finishing on podiums at all the country's high-profile races. The 22-year-old Namibian, who rode for Trek Vaad in Europe in 2022, told the Namibia press agency on Monday that he is now in the elite category and saw it fit to ply his trade closer to home and challenge himself. Stand by for your sports roundup. And with the sports news, we've come to the end of tonight's Primetime Newscast. Many thanks for tuning in. Do catch us tomorrow for another insightful edition of Primetime News. From myself, Salima Shimwefeleni Masipa, and the entire production crew behind the scenes, it's good night.